Yo, what's going on, guys? GZTV here. It is about 4:30 here at my college in Edwardsville. We are back after missing 3 days of NBA basketball. We are back giving you guys some recap coverage. If the lighting's a little bad on this side, I have the window open. It's a nice outside, so yeah. We're going to be talking about the last 3 days of basketball because coming up in about an hour and a half, we got another slate of games ahead of us, and I'm definitely going to be watching them. No NCAA first four tonight, so I'm just going to be watching some NBA basketball, but that's fine. I like NBA, so let's start with Friday. My Celtics beating the Pistons. Good looks. I mean, getting some vengeance. Shout out to Batman. After the Pistons were a kryptonite for the longest time. Jason Tatum scores 31 points. The Celtics beat the Pistons by 11. Let's look at the loser side. Marvin Bagley, a really good 20 and 11. Jeremy Grant had 20 points. Cade Cunningham 27. This team has a pretty solid future. Marvin Bagley finally landing in a destination that he likes. Tatum got 31, but we can't forget the 20-point game for Marcus Smart. He's been playing pretty good recently. Jaylen Brown being an amazing second option for Jason Tatum and accepting that role. He had put up 22. Moving on to Timberwolves in Magic. This is not a game the Timberwolves should lose, but they did it. I mean, big shots on the Maverick side or Magic side. But looking at the Timberwolves, Anthony Edwards kind of starting to return, kind of getting back into the swing of things. Had 25 points and 21 and 13 from Cat. Maybe D'Lo should be doing a little more than he did. Looking at the Magic side, Wendell Carter 20 and 10. Mo Bamba, he's had a spurt of good games this year, 27 and 12. It's a pretty fun Magic team to watch. I mean, they got a big W there. They have a pretty solid future if they can develop those players. Moving on to the Clippers and the Hawks. Trae Young scores 27. The Hawks hold off the Clippers, winning by 6. And I'm rooting for the Hawks, man. I want them to get over that 500 hump. They're definitely a team that deserves to get over the 500 hump, and they're working towards it. The Clippers, great game for Ivica Zubac, 24 and 12. 24 for Reggie Jackson. Reggie Jackson kind of returning back to the form of 36 points on LeBron. Type of thing. For the Hawks, 14 and 11 for Clint Capella and Trae Young with 27 and 11. The Clippers are struggling, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to tell them. I mean, they have no All Stars on their team. What can they really do? They're just gonna have to collect as many wins as they can before Paul George gets back, which is still indeterminate. Cavaliers and Heat, man, I've started to really like Darius Garland's game. Obviously, I mean, he's really consistent. He's one of the most consistent point guards in the league, and I can say that for a fact. But Adebayo scoring 30, the Heat pull away to beat the Cavs. Looking at this Cavaliers team, I watched a JJ Redick interview with Kevin Love, and I thought it was interesting to hear Kevin Love's perspective on these rising stars and how good they've been playing recently. And it's really fun to watch this team develop. Come playoff time, if they're not playing the Celtics, I'm gonna root for them. I really like this Cavs team. I also like that Hawks team, but there's a couple of teams in the East that are really likable, really fun to watch, including the Hornets too. Which, by the way, I think I'm gonna go to a Bulls Hornets game, April 8th. So I might vlog that game and give you guys some clips. That'll be pretty awesome. But yeah, looking at the box score here, Evan Mobley put up a pretty good 19, 12, 24, and 10 for Garland. That's starting to become normal. I mean, man, this guy is a beast. Dean Wade and Isaac Okoro were definitely lacking on the offensive end. But it's whatever. You can't win them all. I mean, Miami's one of the best teams in the league. I mean, matter of fact, they're probably top 3. Looking at the Heat, though, 24 points for Jimmy Butler. Let's not forget that. Him and Bam complementing each other on the court very, very well. 30 and 17 for Bam. And again, Tyler Hero being a bucket off the bench, 22 points. But we'll talk about a bench bucket here in a little bit. I don't remember what day it was, but we'll talk about it. Mavericks, Rockets. Mavs got the win. Luka Doncic has 30 points. Mavericks beat the Rockets by 13. But great performance by Dwight Powell, putting up 26 and 12. Very nice. If you can have a guy like that go off, I mean, they can win any game they wanted to. Dallas can. But 30 and 14 for Luka. Luka's been looking like an MVP as of late, and it's shown on the box scores. It's shown in their record. They've just gotten better and better. They're one of the best defensive teams in the NBA. They're pretty good offensively as well, but Rockets, you had a shout out to Bruce Fernando, I think is his name. Bruno Fernando. He used to play on the Celtics. I think he was on the Hawks too. He's been on a couple teams in his NBA career. Shout out to him. He came off the bench and put up 16 and 11. That's pretty solid. I mean, that's really the Rockets' only good performance. And when your only good performance as a team is a guy coming off the bench, I don't know. It's not a very good look. We had a lot of games this night. Let's move on to Knicks and Grizzlies. I don't know if I'm going to recap the games tonight. I might just wait till tomorrow to do so. Knicks, Memphis. Morant scores 37 points. Grizzlies turn back the Knicks by 4. And mind you, the Knicks were really, really dominant up to this game. But Grizzlies put a stop to that real quick. But, I mean, great games from Julius Randle putting up 36 and 12. He's been looking great. He's been looking like he's much deserving of that most improved last year. 10 and 16 for Mitchell Robinson. 23 for RJ Barrett. I mean, they've established a pretty good big three over there. They just had too bad of a start to the season to really get back up. And if they make the play-in, that would be amazing. But I don't see it happening. Especially with the teams that are on the bottom. The Hornets and the Hawks are on the bottom. The play-in, yeah, I don't see the Knicks getting in over those two teams. Looking at the Grizzlies, again, Ja Morant carried the load for the night. Pause. Carried the load for the Grizzlies tonight. This night, anyways. We're not talking about tonight because we still have NBA games coming on tonight. But 37 points for Ja Morant. Great game there. Hornets, Pelicans. Hornets put up 142. Just a statement game. Bridges and Rozier helped the Hornets shoot past the Pelicans, winning by 22. Herb Jones had a crazy poster on Mason Plumlee. Miles Plumlee, Mason, Miles, whatever, I don't give a fuck. Miles Bridges, good game for Miles Bridges, 26 points. We had 25 for T-Row. I mean, that's about it for them. Looking at the other side, Pelicans' best player was Murphy the third off the bench. I think his name's Trey Murphy. Is that right? Yeah, Trey Murphy the third putting up a 32 off the bench. Good for him. I mean, they didn't win, but that's cool. It's cool to see a guy like him come off the bench and put up that many points. Jazz and Spurs. Here we go. This was the game. Greg Popovich becomes the NBA regular season wins leader. Amazing. And an interesting team to do it with. I mean, ideally he probably would have wanted to do it during the Tim Duncan era, but that was nearly impossible. He's played like 500 games since then, so I don't know. Maybe not 500, maybe a little less than that. But the Jazz on the losing end, you had 13 and 16 for Rudy Gobert and 24 for Donovan Mitchell. 13 and 10 for Hassan Whiteside off the bench. I mean, Hassan Whiteside's starting to prove that he's a really good big man for the Utah Jazz. Royce O'Neal putting up 5 points in 34 minutes. That's not really anything you want. Mike Conley shooting 2 for 14. That's a big problem. But looking at the Spurs here, 13 and 10 for Kelton Johnson. 15 and 11 for Jakob Poeltl, and we had a 27-point performance for DeJounte Murray, as always. I mean, he's a great player. Yeah, that's that game. Moving on, we got 2 more games for this day. Raptors and Suns. Gary Trent Jr. scores 42 points. One of the streakiest players in the league as the Raptors hold off the Suns. Great game for Gary Trent. My goodness. 42 from him, and we can't forget the 25 and 10 performance from Siakam. Doing really good playmaking there for a guy of his length. Might start to become a norm, but as of now, that's crazy to see Siakam be that big of a playmaker. Suns, I mean, they're still holding their own without Chris Paul. I mean, the Raptors are a good team. I think the Raptors are a good team. Cameron Payne put up 24. Devin Booker put up 22. Devin Booker has got to take more control. You need 30 points from Devin Booker almost every game, especially if you don't have Chris Paul. He's going to have to create his own shots. It's been very, very difficult. But, yeah. Wizards and Lakers. And by the way, I'm doing a March Madness bracket, I think, Thursday after the first 4 games are over. James scores 50. Here is another 50 ball for LeBron James. Lakers pass the Wizards for a 13-point victory, winning by 13. But, I mean, you can't discredit the Wizards. I mean, I think they had a pretty good game here. Kyle Kuzma putting up 23. Corey Kispert out of Gonzaga having one of the best games of his early NBA career, putting up 21. Porzingis, I mean, he was a dog on the boards, 14 and 14. I just don't understand. I have a lot of problems with Porzingis' game because when you're as big as you are, you can't be taking turnaround jumpers. You got to take them in the paint. But looking at the Lakers side of things, again, 50 from LeBron, But don't forget, Malik Monk came out and put up 21. It's big time. So yeah, good game there for LeBron James. Two 50-point performances this year. That is wild. Timberwolves and Heat, but then again, my boy Tatum has that too. Timberwolves and Heat to start off that Saturday. Timberwolves beat the Heat by 7 or by 9 for their 7th win in 8 games. Yeah, Timberwolves are looking good. They just knocked off the best team in the East. That's a big win for them. You know, Karl Anthony Towns coming out and putting up 15 and 10, and Naz Reid has been a pretty good big man off the bench, putting up 11 and 10. I don't know how they won off of this. I mean, I guess they had 8 double-digit scorers. Looking at the Heat side, I mean, Bam Adebayo put up 19 and 12. I guess Jimmy Buckets wasn't playing this night, but Tyler Hero came out and put up 30. Wow, Tyler Hero. He's such a good bench player, I'm telling you guys. But let's move on to Cavs and Bulls. Cavs struggling again. DeRozan and Vucevic lead the Bulls to a 10-point victory over the Cavs, and the Cavs actually open up tonight's action. I'll definitely be watching that game. Kevin Love put in some work that night. He put up 10 and 11. 25 for Darius Garland, but that's about it. Looking at the Chicago side here, 25 points for DeRozan, and MVP candidate. I don't know. I'm kind of indeterminate on that. But 20 and 14 performance from Vucevic as well. Move on to the Pacers and Spurs. Halliburton helps the Pacers snap a skid with the win over the Spurs. Just not a very good organization, but hey, you get the win over San Antonio. That's cool, I guess. You're getting paid. He helped them, but I mean, I guess 19 and 10. That he was the only good player on the Pacers, really. You look at the Spurs side. Great job from their bench. I mean, Landale put up 26. Lonnie Walker put up 20. Interesting. Trey Jones put up 10 rebounds and 12 assists. That's an interesting stat line. With barely any points. He almost had a triple-double. That's kind of ridiculous. Bucks and Warriors, kind of disappointed by the Bucks' performance in this one. Klay Thompson, though, is he back? Who knows? This game raised a big question in the NBA world. Klay Thompson scores a season-high 38 as the Warriors top the Bucks. And I'm really liking this season because there's a lot of parity. There's a lot of who's going to win the championship being asked. Like, I don't have a clear winner for you guys. Like, I don't know. But looking at the Bucks, 31 points for Giannis, and that's it. I mean, Giannis can't do it all. Bobby Portis, you got to put up more than 4 points when you're playing 22 minutes. I mean, all you need is 20 for Middleton and Holiday in a situation like this. They need to be on their game once the playoffs roll around. I mean, this isn't really a team you would play on your side of the bracket out. Not just because they're in the Western Conference, but I don't think there's an Eastern Conference team that's quite as good as the Warriors there. But looking at the other side, great performance by the Warriors. I mean, Curry had a slow night, but you have Wiggins coming out putting up 21. Obviously, Klay putting up 38. Jordan Poole putting up 30. And a rising star in Jonathan Kuminga putting up 14 and 11. I see a lot of potential with those guys. When Curry has a down night, we'll have an up night for a bunch of other guys. That's really nice. Raptors and Nuggets is the next game. Siakam scores 33 points coming off that 25 and 10, so that's nice. Raptors beat the Nuggets by 12. Big win against a great Nuggets team. I wouldn't say great, but they're definitely good. Siakam put up 33. Can't forget Scotty Barnes putting up 25 and 10. The young guy, love it. Very efficient 25 and 10 as well. Chris Boucher off the bench putting in work. 21 and 13. You gotta love when bench players do stuff like that. But moving on to the Nuggets side, again, Jokic can't carry the load here. 26 and 10. Reed had a slow night with 5 points. Monte Morris is definitely better than 9 points as well. So, yeah, it's unfortunate, but you know what? You can't win them all. Moving on to the Kings and Jazz game. Clarkson has a career high 45 points to lift the Jazz past the Kings. A lot of career highs. A lot of people going off over this weekend. It was a great weekend of NBA basketball. For the Kings, man, I mean, De'Aaron Fox can't do it all. He had 41 and 11. I mean, 3 points for Justin Holiday, 6 points for Damian Jones. I mean, you guys definitely need to step that up a little bit. Maurice Harkless went scoreless. I mean, it's just like, wow. But looking at the Jazz, I mean, good performances by the starters. 26 for Bogdanovich, 12 and 21 rebounds for Hassan Whiteside, looking like a prime Heat. Hassan Whiteside, 25 for Mitchell, but the highlight. In 35 minutes, putting up 45 points, certified bucket getter off the bench for Jordan Clarkson. He's definitely going to be a 6-man of the year candidate alongside guys like Tyler Hero. I'm not sure who the other would be, but Tyler Hero and Jordan Clarkson are pretty much my locks for 6-man of the year. Looking at the Wizards and Trailblazers, Trailblazers. This is the final game of Saturday. Hearts. Here's another big game where Hearts scores 44 as Trailblazers top the Wizards. In the 6 games again. If they beat the Warriors, that would have been crazy. But again, I mean, the Wizards are putting up some pretty tough performances here. 22 points from Kuzma, 26 for KCP. I mean, KCP's starting to return back to his Pistons form. I mean, Raul Nato putting up 4 points is sure as hell is going to slow them down. You know, Denny Avdija going scoreless off the bench. Same with Thomas Satoransky. That's cool to see Thomas Satoransky back playing. I feel like it's been a while since he's played, but very lacking from those guys. But looking at the Trailblazers here, can't forget Eubanks. Man, Eubanks has been playing good. 20 and 12. Watford putting up 27, 44 for Josh Hart. One of the best Lillardless Trailblazers performances of the year. I'm happy for him. Let's move on to Sunday. I mean, it gives hope to gives a lot of hope as Damian Lillard. I don't know what he's doing. Is he hurt, I guess? I don't know. Let's start off with my Celtics losing the Mavericks off of Luka hitting a crazy shot, and the NBA being one of the dumbest. Dinwiddie hit some clutch threes, but the league being one of the dumbest in terms of clutch time, handling the clutch time. If you're up, if you're winning, why are you able to intentionally foul? I don't get it. This is a big controversy, like especially this season, a big controversy that's been going around in the NBA. I just don't understand why you're able to, as a winning team, intentionally foul. Now, obviously, on this final Jason Tatum shot, they didn't intentionally foul him. But the only reason he shot this terrible, like, moving three was because he was in fear of getting fouled. Like, that's the thing. But this was a very slow game. Like, from the start, I mean, once we got to the end, we started seeing guys like Luka go off. Obviously, he put up 26. Then when he started to get in a little rhythm, but Luka Doncic's the lone performer on this Mavericks team, and that's not the first time that's happened. Of course, I mean, Luka Doncic is an all-star. 26 from him. Tatum putting up 21 and 11. That's about it. I mean, Grant Williams in 22 minutes. You're really coming out and putting up 2 points. 0 for 4 from 3. Not the best there. Whatever. We can improve on it. I mean, Dallas is a really good team, no doubt, especially for their roster. On paper, you wouldn't think that they're a 42 in 2016, but of course they are. But anyways, let's move to Knicks and Nets. This was a pretty good game. Durant scores 53. The KDs that he was wearing that night were fire. Nets edged the Knicks by 3 as Irving watches. And there's another big controversy with Kyrie Irving, maskless, on the bench, not being able to play. It doesn't make sense. There's a weird double standard going on in New York sports right now. I'm not really sure why he can't play. If he played, though, if him and Durant consistently played throughout the playoffs, the NBA better watch out. We might have a title contender on our hands. But looking at the losing team the next year, 26 points for Julius Randle. Evan Fournier, one night he's on, one night he's off, and he was definitely on tonight. 25 points, making some tough shots out of the corners, moving shots, 5 for 8 from 3, 9 for 13 from field goal. And RJ Barrett putting up 24. Pretty good game from him. He's been playing pretty consistent recently. But looking at the Nets here, 53 points for Kevin Durant. And Andre Drummond putting up a pretty big performance as a big man, 18 and 10, you know. He's got a pretty good role on this Nets team. Let's move on to Clippers and Pistons. A lot of games yesterday were actually very close. We're talking about yesterday, Sunday. Morris and Kennard lead the Clippers over the Pistons, winning by 4. Great game for Marcus Morris Sr. I root for a guy like that. I mean, he's a great three-point shooter, 31 points. Ivica Zubac put up 14 and 15. I mean, that's about it for the Clippers. Moving on to the Pistons, we see a Jeremy Grant 21-point performance, and Cade Cunningham putting up 20 plus, and I don't know how many games in a row he's been looking amazing lately, 23 and 10. I'm so excited to see how his career unfolds. He's definitely a guy to watch for the next few years. But good game for Cade. I mean, he's definitely climbing up that rookie ladder, man. Mobley better watch out. Scotty Barnes better watch out. Sixers Magic. This ended up being an OT game. Sixers should not be taking Orlando into OT. I guess they were demoralized by the Nets, but still. Embiid's 35 points and 16 rebounds leads the Sixers over the Magic in OT. But hey, my boy Tobias Harris is back playing good. 26. And after you toxic ass Sixers fans boo Harden, I mean, comes out and puts up 26, 35 and 16 for Joel. No doubt this is Joel's team. I mean, Harden's a newcomer here. He's gonna have to go by Joel's rules. That's just the reality of playing with a franchise tagged player almost. Speaking of franchise tags, I need to talk about some of the stuff about the NFL in the offseason. We will do that a little later in the year. But yeah, a lot of interesting stuff there. But looking at the Magic, I mean, you're going to need more than Wendell Carter putting up 23 and 12, which, by the way, is amazing to win games. Franz Wagner has looked very, very slow lately. Mo Bamba had an off night. I mean, he's a pretty streaky player. We expected those. Yeah, I mean, those are their big issues. I feel like Franz Wagner even getting a couple more shots would have helped them win the game, which is crazy because they're playing a big three of Tobias Harris, Joel Embiid, and Harden. But let's move on to the Pacers and Hawks here. Trae Young, 40 bombs left and right over these last 3 days of hoops. Hawks hold off the Pacers by 3. Probably should beat the Pacers by more than that, but hey, they're 33 and 34. They're looking to get over that hump there. Looking at the Pacers, Jackson had 12 and 15, 25 and 10 for Tyrese Halliburton. Great games. Pacers played good though. I mean, it's understandable why it was such a close game. Buddy Hield 25, 13 and 10 for Jalen Smith. I finally know who that is off the bench. And 22 points for, is that Dwayne Washington? Yeah. I forgot what college he went to, but I think I remember Ohio State. I remember watching him in college. I've heard that name before. They didn't have Goga. They didn't have Lance. They didn't have Chris Duarte, and they still kept it close. Probably would have won with those guys, but anyways, looking at the Hawks here, I mean, Trae Young alone putting up 47 points is enough. I mean, that's crazy. Big performance. Love Trae Young. Love watching him play. I love the villain persona he's taken over recently, but let's move on to Rockets-Pelicans. Valanciunas and Hayes power the Pelicans past the Rockets, winning by 25. Very dominant, very statement game there. Rockets, terrible game played by them. But looking at the Pelicans, 17 and 10 for Najee Marshall, 32 and 10 for Valanciunas, 21 for Jackson Hayes. I love seeing that. 16 for 10 and 10 for Jose Alvarado off the bench as well. So a good game for the Pelicans. A lot of guys stepping into spots there. Grizzlies and Thunder. They came out in the same jerseys to start off the game, and that didn't even help the Thunder. And Thunder didn't even get in their heads with that one. Grizzlies lead for all but 25 seconds and a win over the Thunder. One of the most dominant games from the Grizzlies this year. And look at the box score. I mean, not a crazy game from them. 17 and 10 for Ja Morant, 21 points for Desmond Bane, 12 and 10 for Brandon Clark off the bench. I mean, that's about it. You look at the Thunder, it looked like they should have won the game. 29 and 10 for Darius Bazley, 31 points for SGA. But they didn't win the game. I mean, that's just their luck, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, moving on to the final game of the night, and then I'm going to wrap things up. We got the Lakers and the Suns. The NBA leading Suns root Lakers. James reaches 10,000 assists. Congratulations to LeBron James. He is the first player in NBA history who is almost inevitable to reach the 30, 10, and 10 club. 30,000 points, 10,000 rebounds, 10,000 assists. He's a walking 30-point triple-double, really. But looking at the Lakers, LeBron played good, 31 points. But that's it. I mean, 2 points for Stanley Johnson? I can't believe... I mean, I don't know what's going on with the Lakers and their rosters lately. They just keep picking people up randomly. Kent Bazemore didn't score. Gabriel didn't do much. I mean, it's whatever, I guess. Look at the Suns. You know, you got 23 and 16 for Ayton. Great game for him. 30 and 10 for Devin Booker. Just a good game. Continuing to play without Chris Paul and continuing to lead the NBA record-wise and continue to pick up wins. But yeah, those were games from the last 3 days. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. It's always been Jeezy TV. I'm not sure when I'm going to be posting another of the recap videos. I'm going to try to do them nightly. I might do them in clunks. Maybe that's a little better. But I'll try to do one for tonight, tomorrow. I'm usually going to do it a day after, so hopefully you guys enjoyed. All of my NBA fans, I just went over the last 3 days of basketball.